to another video. My name's Victoria. This is my channel Readers Retreat. If you're new, welcome. Thank you for joining us. Today's video I am super excited about because it's my mid-year freak out tag. This went really well last year, so I'm really glad to be doing it again. This is a really popular tag on BookTube and I love to watch it. Yeah, I'm really excited to dive into this today, and I'm also really excited because I'm feeling the positive vibes today. It's beautiful outside, really nice and sunny, really warm, and as you can tell, I'm feeling really positive, so I thought I'd make the most of it and get some filming done today so I can get some content out there for you guys. It's been a while since I felt this good, so I'm really going to make the most of it today. So without further ado, there are 13 questions that I'm going to answer in this video, and let's get into the first one with the best book you've read so far this year in 2022. I couldn't choose between the three books in this trilogy because they were all equally fantastic, and I'm going to go with the All Souls trilogy by Deborah Harkness, the book series that relates to the new TV series on Sky, A Discovery of Witches. I love that series, I love these books equally, and yeah, they were just an absolute storm to read, and I read them pretty quickly actually. I was really surprised at how quickly I read through them one after the other. It was a real binge for me, which I absolutely adored earlier on this year, and it was a great way to kick off my year really. It's just steeped in fabulous supernatural characters, witches, vampires, werewolves, all of it. It's just absolutely fantastic, and I cannot rate this high enough. It obviously got 5 stars, the whole trilogy. I just couldn't stop once I started, so this was my Pringles for the year so far. Just absolutely loved it. Next up is best sequel you've read so far. I again was indecisive because I have gone for 2 middle grades actually. I've started to read a lot more middle grade, which I'm absolutely loving, because I never thought that, you know, children's books would be something that I would enjoy, but having spent so long watching Gavin's videos and Jade's videos, Gavin at How to Train Your Gavin and Jade at Jadeyraereads, I've just devoured so much thanks to their channels and their recommendations, and now I'm patron for the both of them as well. It's even better because I get personalised recommendations, so it's amazing. They are incredible people. I absolutely love them. I will leave links to their channels down below, as I always do, so please do go check them out, go subscribe, and I promise you, you will not be disappointed. They're incredible. But back to the books. Sequels. I've gone for Rainbow Grey, Eye of the Storm by Laura Ellen Anderson. This is the beautiful Waterstones exclusive edition. It was brilliant. I adored Rainbow Grey, which is just brilliant. It follows Ray Grey, who you see on the cover there. She lives in a world where everybody has weather magic. They can control different elements of the weather. As Ray grew up, she never really developed any powers, and then she discovers that she is actually a rainbow weatherling, which is really rare in her world. And it's basically, the first book is basically her discovering that she is a rainbow weatherling, and this one, Eye of the Storm, is her basically coming to learn how to control her magic a little bit more with help of some characters that we saw in the last book, and her really special friends and her family, and it's just a really beautiful story. It's all about the cloud creatures. This is Nim, who is Ray Gray's cloud cat. He is beautiful. He's also on the spine. Look, there he is. He's incredible. I love him to bits. He's probably one of the best characters. And this story is all about the cloud animals because they start disappearing, and Ray gets the blame for that. So because she's getting the blame for that, she gets really fed up with it, and she decides that she's going to go on a quest to try and find out the truth and find out why the cloud creatures are disappearing. It was a mystery, it was fun, it was exciting, it was quite high stakes at some points as well, and I absolutely loved it. It was brilliant, and definitely one of the best sequels that I've read so far. And then the other one is Dragon Rising by Katie and Kevin Sang. It is a sequel because it's the 4th book in the Dragon Realm series. I absolutely love this series. It's just so good. It's a brilliant way actually to introduce kids to the myth of dragons, and the way these dragons are written, they're so beautiful. It's so easy to kind of accept that they're real. And what I love about this series in particular is the relationships between the dragons and the humans, and how special that is. It develops over the series, definitely, and by this book they're all really close and all really kind of important to each other. But this one kind of, it closes off in a way, because I don't know if this is going to be the last in the Dragon Realm series. I'm going to have to look that up, but I hope not, because I really do love this series. I haven't seen any more information to say that it's not going to be the last one, but I'm hoping that it's not, because it really is lovely, and it has encouraged me to look back at Katie and Kevin Sang's backlist, because it's beautifully written, really lovely story that kind of just explores their relationship a lot more. Because what basically happens in the Dragon Realm series is that 4 kids are taken to a mountain where they discover 4 dragons, and they find that they can be linked to these 4 dragons. Each kid is linked to its own dragon, and then they kind of inherit powers from them. And once you are linked to your dragon, you are linked forever. So you can communicate with your dragon, you can sense their feelings, you can, develop these powers. And that intricacy in their relationships is just beautifully written, and you're just completely sucked in from the first book. And this is a beautiful way to carry on the series. It's the 4th, and from what I can tell, the final book in the series, which is really sad, but it's just brilliant. Absolutely loved it. Just so exciting from book to book. They've each got their own sort of adventure and story in them, but the characters continue. Their relationships and their skills and their powers and their maturity develop throughout the books. So it's really cleverly done, and I cannot recommend them enough. So please do pick these up if you haven't already. Next, new releases that you haven't read yet but want to. Again, I was indecisive. This is becoming a pattern, isn't it? First up, it's no secret that I am a Philip Pullman fan. I absolutely adore his Dark Materials. It's one of my all-time favourite series, and Philip Pullman has become a author for me. It doesn't matter what he writes, whether it's fiction or non-fiction, I will buy it and I will read it. I don't know yet why I haven't read this one, because normally when Pullman releases something, I get it and read it in the first day. This is really tiny as well, so again, I don't know why I've not read it yet, but I will really, really soon. Firstly, this edition, the Waterstones exclusive, is just beautiful. That cover is just phenomenal, and it's also got these beautiful red sprayed edges. It's cosmic rays from Lyra's universe. I'm just really intrigued because it kind of sounds like it's non-fiction, but then it's about a fictional world, so it sounds like it's going to be a brilliant crossover. It says, appearances can be deceptive. This is a book like no other. It contains untold riches, every page a tiny particle of story from the universe of his dark materials, made alive for us by the writer's imagination. Every page will give you an exciting glimpse into Lyra's world. Every page will give you an astonishing insight into the storytelling mind of Philip Pullman. So step into the imagination chamber, read carefully, linger over each story particle, and be amazed by what you find. I need to read it soon because I just do. I don't know why I haven't already. I really don't. But I cannot wait. Really cannot wait. Another one I can't wait for, and again, I don't know why I haven't read yet, is Lady's Guide to Fortune Hunting by Sophie Irwin. I saw this and got huge Pride and Prejudice vibes from it. It's historical fiction, which is different for me. I don't really read a lot of that. It's had some brilliant reviews on Goodreads, and yeah, I'm just really excited by it. Like I say, it gives me huge Pride and Prejudice vibes, and you know now by watching my videos that Pride and Prejudice is my favourite book of all time. I reread it every year. I have already read it this year. The tagline on the front there is, the season is about to begin and there's not a minute to lose. And on the back it says, in 1818, fortune may not favour women, but it always favours the brave. So yeah, it's from what I can gather, it's funny, it's witty, it's clever, and yeah, I'm just getting huge Elizabeth Bennet vibes from it, and I can't wait. And also, it's beautiful. This is again the Waterstones exclusive edition. That's the beautiful foiled front cover, and then the stunning little stenciled edge. It's just really pretty, which is another thing that drew me to it, because I'm superficial like that, and if it's pretty, I'll buy it. So yeah, I'm really excited to dive into this one. Actually, I've bought the audiobook already, so it's going to be one that I really do pick up soon because I can't wait. Next up, most anticipated release for the second half of the year. Now, I don't have a physical copy of this one, obviously, because it's an anticipated release. It's Philip Pullman again, but he is releasing another story. I'll leave a picture of it here, called The Collectors, and from what I can gather from the information I know about it from Waterstones and Goodreads, the little caption that Waterstones likes to put on says, filled with magic of Pullman's assured pen, this glorious new tale set in the universe of his dark materials sees an art collecting Oxford academic acquire two imposing paintings which turn out to be connected in mysterious and improbable ways. So, what's not to love? A new story from Philip Pullman, which means I have to buy it, I have to read it, and it's also about his dark materials. It can't be better. According to Waterstones, it comes out on the 15th of September, which is way too far in the future for me. I need to read it, and I need to read it now. But I have to wait. So yeah, that definitely is my most anticipated release for later on in the year. And also the Heartstopper yearbook by Alice Oseman. I cannot wait. Again, I'll leave a picture of it here. I cannot wait for that. It brings me back to the Heartstopper world and those boys, and it's just glorious. I watched the entirety of the Heartstopper series on Netflix in one sitting and absolutely adored it. I will go back to that time and time again because it's just glorious, and I've reread all of the graphic novels again so far this year, because I'm actually halfway through my reading goal of 100 books already. Yeah, I've read all 4 volumes of Heartstopper again so far this year, and it actually features a little bit later in this list. Yeah, I'm really, really excited for that. I'm just going to devour it, and like the Heartstopper volumes, I'll probably devour it the same day I get it. Biggest disappointment for me so far in 2022, this was actually really hard because I haven't read any that were really, really bad. Well, apart from the one I'm going to talk about, because I DNF'd it. It is Mortal Engines by Philip Reeve, the first book in the Hungry City Chronicles. I have read or tried to read that before and DNF'd it, but there's a prompt in Jadeyraereads Patreon annual readathon that we're doing, Pokeathon it's called. There's a prompt in there that I chose this book for, and I still ended up DNFing it. It sounds really good, and like it has a lot of potential when you read like the blurb and people's reviews of it, because it is loved a lot, and there's a movie of it which I didn't like either, to be fair. I was just bored because I was expecting like I would get really invested into the characters. It's really loved, and the fact that I didn't like it was really disappointing for me because I wanted to. I really did want to, but like I said, I was just bored because although it builds up the world nicely and it's a really clever world, I wanted more steampunk, I wanted more mechanics, I wanted more of the world, and I just didn't get it in the amount that I read. But I think I was over halfway through and I was just like, nothing's happening yet. The bit that really draws you in, I mean, on Goodreads, the book description, the first thing it says is London is a city on wheels. And yes, although the first couple of chapters do talk about that, it's not elaborated on enough for me. Maybe the later books in the series are, but if you can't pull people in the first book in a series, then what's the point, in my opinion? So yeah, I was just really, really disappointed with it, and I'm sad. This time I definitely got over halfway and I just thought, I can't do it, I'm bored. I can't continue with a book that's boring me, and it was starting to put me in a slump, thinking I don't want to pick this up anymore. I don't want to pick anything up because I'm just bored. So I started to slip down into a slump, and I thought, no, I can't afford to slip into a slump because I've got too much to read. So if I slip into a slump, it's really going to affect my year, and I didn't want that. I've got 100 books to read in a year, and although I'm slightly ahead of schedule, if I slumped, then that would soon disappear. So I wasn't prepared to take that risk, so I just thought, no, I'm not going to do it. I'm not somebody that likes to DNF a book unless it really gives me cause to, but I just couldn't do it. Yeah, it's a shame because I really did want to love it, but I just didn't. Okay, let's move on. Biggest surprise. Now, I don't know if I'm really allowed to do this because I'm still reading it at the moment, but I'm part of a book club called JPEGs, which is Jade, Pris, Gavin and Steph, who are 4 of my favourite booktubers. Jade from Jadeyraereads, Pris from Pris Peruses, Gavin obviously from How to Train Your Gavin, and Steph from Steph Loves. I absolutely adore all four of them. They're amazing people, and I am the tiniest cog in their huge communities, and I'm so proud of that. But yes, so we're reading the first book of the JPEGs book club, which is Mordew by Alex Phoebe, and I'm still reading it. I'm just over halfway through because it's a chunky one, and I'm really surprised at how much I'm loving this. It's a gothic fantasy, which I've never really touched on before because I'm a wimp and I don't like things that scare me, but I'm not scared. I'm just intrigued. It's just brilliant. I'm loving it. I'm completely invested in Nathan, the main character, and I just absolutely adore this book so far. It's just brilliant. I mean, the first line of the blurb on the back is God is dead, his corpse hidden in the catacombs beneath Mordew. Immediately you need to know more. It's like, what? God's supposed to be this like all-seeing, all-knowing person that nobody knows. How can he be dead? So yeah, I wanted to read it, not only because the book club is run by those four, but also because that just pulled me in straight away. And Nathan, the main character, who you actually see on the front cover there, look, tiny little guy, so cute. But yeah, I really am enjoying this, and I wasn't expecting to at all. I wasn't expecting to get this far into it, to be honest. I really did go into it thinking I'm not going to like this and I'm probably going to DNF it after 100 pages, but I am, how far into it am I now? 311 pages in, and there's 617, so I'm, well, not quite halfway then, am I? Just shy of halfway, but it looks like halfway when I do that, so I'll do that. But yeah, it's so intriguing and so immersive, which I wasn't expecting at all. I was expecting to be terrified, but I'm not. It's just a really great gothic twist on fantasy that I really didn't anticipate enjoying as much as I am, because I'm not finished yet. As I say, I don't know if I'm allowed to do that, but I really wanted to mention it because it's really good. So please come and join us at JPEGs and pick this up. It's our June book, so there's not much of June left as I speak now, but please do pick this up, because if you're anything like me, then this isn't a new thing, and I can't wait to read that second half, like 300 pages in the rest of the month, because I'm getting through a good chunk of it each time I pick it up, because the chapters are quite short, like 2 or 3 pages per chapter, which is also really lovely because it feels like a great accomplishment when you put it down for the night and you've read like 12 chapters. So it's a really nice reading experience as well. The audiobook and the ebook are actually on Scribd, so I'm following along with the audiobook on Scribd, which, if you know me by now, you know that I love to do that to enhance my reading experience. But something about this one really craved turning the physical pages and having it in your hand to read, so I had to pick it up, and I'm loving it. So whether I'm allowed to do it or not, it's getting a mention in this video. So yeah, please pick up Mordew. And then another one that I'm going to talk about in this question, because I was indecisive again, why are we not surprised, is My Heart Lies in the Evergreen by Kate Nielsen Ray. I am amazed to say Kate Nielsen-Ray is one of my dearest friends, and I'm so excited to say that she's now an author, because she's amazing. She's a romance author, and you know me, I'm not a romance reader. I'm really not, but I love her books. They're so good, and I think she is going to be the sole romance reader that I will ever read. I know that I've read Kate Stewart before now, and really enjoyed that as well, which was a surprise, but that was last year. But I think as far as like one that I will keep going back to, Kate definitely like scores on that card, because her first book, My Heart Lies in Pisciotta, I believe I'm saying that right, sorry Kate if I'm not, is just how can I gush about it? It's just brilliant. I love it. I'll leave pictures of both of them up here, as I don't have the physical copies. I read them both on because I was a beta reader for her, which was brilliant. So I love doing that. It was so exciting for me. But yes, she's just phenomenal. I was completely sucked in to the character stories. I was completely and utterly obsessed with the relationships. They are steamy, I will say that now, but it's done beautifully, it's respectful, it's classic, it's just glorious. I don't like romance, and I'm gushing about romance books. What? It's just amazing. So if you're a romance lover, please pick these up. I cannot recommend them high enough. She's my dearest friend, and I am so delighted to be able to talk about her books on my channel, because she's just incredible. I'm so impressed with her writing. I'm so impressed with her imagination. The amount of research she's done for both of these books is just phenomenal. They are set in real places, so there's that to it as well. It's all relatable, it's all real. There's none of it that's not feasible, there's none of it that's not understandable. It's just I love them, and I'm not a romance reader. I don't know how many times I've said that now, but I don't care. Please pick them up because they're amazing. What's next? Favourite new author or debut? I haven't read any debut authors so far this year, unfortunately. I do want to try and do that in the remaining part of the year. But a new author to me is Alex Bell, the author of the Polar Bear Explorers Club trilogy. I loved this. I read it and the other two, binged, should I say, for Polathon 2022. You can see that in my Polathon 2022 video. I'll leave a link in the description. But yes, Alex Bell is just brilliant. I absolutely loved Stella. She's feisty, she's just brilliant, and these stories are fantastic adventures. Basically it follows Stella, who is an intrepid explorer, or wants to be, but in her world women or girls aren't allowed to be explorers, so she stows away on her father's expedition to the Polar Bear Country, or the Icelands as it's known, and basically the blurb says it all. When Stella joins the Polar Bear Explorers on an expedition to the Icelands, her eyes are opened to a world of danger, adventure and snow pirates. Out in the icy wilds, There are giant yetis, magical golden geese, terrifying carnivorous cabbages, and important new friendships to be made. Join the explorers on an unforgettable adventure across the ice. It is just, as it says, just hugely adventurous, hugely exciting, a fantastic page turner. All three of them are actually. I binged them all for Polathon in that week and loved them. Yeah, I just absolutely love these books, and there's more written by Alex Bell as well that I am really eager to get my hands on and dive into as well. So yeah, a new to me author, Alex Bell, and I can't wait to read more. Next one, I've bent a little bit, which is a bit naughty, I know, but you know me, I wouldn't be me if I didn't talk about Pride and Prejudice. It's not a new book, it's not a new fictional crush, which is the question. Newest fictional crush is the question. But I haven't got one, really. Although the characters in My Heart Lies in the Evergreen were a bit nice, and I didn't not enjoy them, you can't beat Darcy. Yeah, this is my newest edition of Pride and Prejudice, okay, so that's why I'm counting it, that's why I'm saying it works. It's beautiful, it's hardback, and it's just stunning. Look, it's just beautiful. I love it. I've got an entire box set of Jane Austen's books like this now, and I love them. So yes, my newest fictional crush from my new edition is Mr. Darcy from Pride and Prejudice. You all know by now what Pride and Prejudice is about, but it follows 5 sisters, the Bennet sisters, and basically they're kind of pushed into society by their mother, most particularly, to find husbands, because they live in the Regency era where basically that's all women did. They learn how to play the piano, they learn how to sew, they learn all of that kind of thing to be a respectable woman, and then they're pushed into society to find a husband. That's just the way it is. That's just what happens to women in that time. So yeah, it's their kind of exploration of what's available, really, at the time that they're pushed into society. Jane, the oldest, Lizzie, the second oldest, are the main real focus in these, although Lydia, the youngest, does feature quite heavily as well, because there are some things that aren't so nice for the family that happen, and Lydia is the main reason for that. You'll find out if you read it. If you haven't already, why. It's a classic. Pick it up and read it. But yes, so you all know how much I love this book. It's my favourite book of all time. I read it every single year. I devour it every single year, I should say. And this is my newest edition, and Darcy is my fictional crush. He just is. That's just the way it is. It's never going to change. So that's what's happening. Okay? Newest favourite character, which is the next question, kind of follows the same suit. Okay? Because I've had a lot of rereads so far this year, because I like to reread my favourites. So again, it's no surprise that his Dark Materials is going to feature on this list. I reread Northern Lights this year, and I plan to reread the other two as well at some point. So, newest favourite character, again, I'm using a new edition. I bought the gift editions, which are stunning. So that's how it fits into newest, okay? It just does. That's just the way it works in this video, alright? So, yes, my favourite character is Lyra. alongside Elizabeth Bennet. I didn't want to talk about that one for 2 questions, okay, so I chose this one. Lyra Silvertongue is one of my favourite characters, and she's feisty, she's clever, she's just awesome. Lyra Silvertongue is by far the greatest character Philip Pullman has ever written. She is just amazing. You can't help but get sucked into this world. I know Jade read it and she didn't like it. She wasn't really a fan of it, but I absolutely adore these books. This is Jadeyraereads Bernison, who is also really good, but this is Lyra. And all of this beautifulness is the story. You need to read it because it's just amazing. Basically, Lyra finds out that dust is a link to other worlds, and dust is feared in Lyra's world. They're taught to believe that it's bad, it's scary, it's dangerous, and they don't want kids to know about it. And basically, when kids start going missing in Lyra's neighbourhood, and her friend Roger also goes missing, she vows to find him, she vows to find out what's happening to these kids, and it's her journey to do that. But she also discovers a lot more about this dust and how that's involved in the kids' disappearances and all of that kind of thing. So she discovers an awful lot, and it's all wrapped up in this little thing which is called the alethiometer. Very few people can read the alethiometer, and Lyra is one of them, which makes her dangerous in a lot of people's eyes, but also a sought after character. There are people after her, there are people that want her, because she is one of the few that can read the alethiometer, and the alethiometer tells you all sorts of secrets, it tells you all sorts of futures, things like that. So it can tell you if somebody's telling the truth or lying, all of that kind of thing. So the powers that be are desperate to find somebody that can read it and use it to their advantage. So there are lots of different kind of subplots within one big one in these stories, and I think that's why I love it so much, because you have to concentrate, you have to know the pattern of things in this, and I just love it. I love it with all of my heart, and I love Philip Pullman. I've said it already, he is an auto-buy author for me. Whatever he writes, in whatever genre, I will always pick it up and I will always read it, and this is where all that started. So yeah, newest edition means my newest favourite character is Lyra Silvertongue. A book that made you cry. I haven't had any that made me cry in a sad way so far this year, but again, I've reread The House in the Cerulean Sea by TJ Klune. This is the beautiful, beautiful Illuminate edition, which I just have to show it off because it's stunning. I mean, look at the naked hardcover. It's just beautiful. Just absolutely stunning. I had to get my hands on these. When I found out Illuminate were doing special editions, that was it. I didn't care how much they cost. I wanted it. They did a special edition of this one and TJ Klune's Beyond the Whispering Door, or Behind the Whispering Door. I think it's Beyond. Stunning, on my shelf. And I reread this year again for a prompt for Pokeathon, and it just makes me cry in a happy way because it's so, so wholesome and so beautiful. There is a debate whether it's middle grade or whether it's YA. I can see why, because there are a lot of elements that you would think, yeah, this is middle grade definitely, but then it gets quite dark and quite dangerous, and there are elements about the kids in this story that you think, yeah, that's a bit much for middle grade, so it might be a YA. Basically follows Linus, who is a guy basically from the social services of this world. So he has to travel to the orphanage. He has to determine whether these kids are dangerous, because they all have supernatural powers. So he has to determine whether they can integrate into society or whether they are better off kept isolated like this. So you learn about these incredible kids. They're all beautiful, they're all brilliant, they're all quirky and cute and lovely in their own right, and some of them are a little bit dark and twisty, as I like to say. But there is reason for that, and it is explored, which is brilliant. And again, I combined the audio with this, and it's read beautifully, and I just absolutely adore this book with all of my heart. Again, it's a five-star read, and I reread it and it was still a 5-star read. I had no doubt that it would be, but again, I'm twisting it because it's a new edition. So yeah, House in the Cerulean Sea is definitely the book that made me cry so far this year, but in a happy way, so that's good. Book that made me happy. I could have combined the two questions again with The House in the Cerulean Sea, but I didn't. I went for Heartstopper. It's not new, but it doesn't have to be in this question. A book that made me happy that I've read so far this year, Heartstopper by Alice Oseman. These graphic novels are incredible. These were my first experience of a graphic novel, and I devoured them. Each and every one on release I devoured. I absolutely adore them. They are so cute. So cute. I absolutely adore them. Nick and Charlie are just... you can't not love Nick and Charlie, okay? Nick, Charlie, in case you're wondering. Charlie is the only guy at his school that has come out as gay, and he's bullied for it. I've been a victim of bullying in mainstream school, and it's not fun. So I immediately sympathise with Charlie. It's one of the best LGBTQ plus stories that I think I've ever read, because it touches on so much as you progress through the 4 volumes, and it does it so tactfully, so beautifully. Alice Oseman's writing is just brilliant. I mean, I've heard people say that you can't class it as writing because it's a graphic novel, but there is so much story in here and so much classy development of these characters as you progress that you can't help but get immersed. You can't help but ship Charlie and Nick the whole way through, and now there's this beautiful Heartstopper TV show on Netflix. Please do go watch that if you haven't already. Like I said before, I've watched it all in one sitting. I just couldn't not. I was just completely sucked in. So yeah, I devoured these in one sitting when I reread them all this year, and I devoured the TV show in one sitting as well. I always read the books before I watch the series, so I reread them all and then watched the series. They don't all feature in the first series of Heartstopper. There will be more, I've heard. When that's going to be, I don't know, but I need to see it right now. It's not going to happen, but I need to. But yes, so the first series kind of follows the events of the first book. So yeah, if you've read this, you will know what's going to happen, but at the same time, it's so cleverly done that you don't care. So there are elements in there that are so typically Alice Oseman, with things like these illustrations. There are parts of her illustrations that end up in the TV show, and it's so well done that you just, I'm obsessed. I really am obsessed, and I can't wait, like I say in one of my earlier questions, I can't wait for the yearbook to come out, because it's an excuse just to go back to the world of Heartstopper, and I love it. Oh dear. There's a lot of gushing in today's video, isn't there? Sorry about that. And what's next? The most beautiful book that you've bought so far this year. Well, as you know by now, because I've recently released it for my BookTube birthday, I have subscribed to the Broken Binding subscription. And the first book in the Broken Binding subscription was The Blade Itself by Jo Abercrombie. And I gush over this book hugely in that video, so if you haven't seen it yet, please do check it out. And this book is stunning. All of them are stunning. I've now got all three, so keep your eye out for that to find out how they all relate to each other visuals wise. But not only is it a stunning cover, but the sprayed edge is phenomenal, absolutely beautiful, and then an expansion on what you see on the sprayed edge. Look at that for a naked hardcover, just stunning. And on the spine, it's so clever because it doesn't actually tell you what it is. Say one thing for Logan Nine Fingers. I absolutely am intrigued by this series and will be reading it. Not sure if I'll get to it this year because there is a lot that I still want to get to, and that I'd have planned for the rest of the year, so I'm not sure if it's going to be this year, but who knows. I might surprise myself in how fast I can get through what I want to read, and I may end up picking it up. But it's my first book from Jo Abercrombie as well, so he is a new author. So who knows? This one might feature in next year's Midyear Freak Out tag because he's a new author. But yes, stunning book. Probably the most beautiful book I own. But then I do have a lot of beautiful books, so it's very hard. But the most recent one is this one, and they are absolutely stunning. So yeah, if you're not subscribed to the Broken Binding subscription, go join their waiting list. It is quite extensive from what I can gather from the emails, but I had exclusive access. I don't know why I had exclusive access, but I had exclusive access and signed up early, which was phenomenal. Broken Binding, if you're watching this as well, thank you for giving me priority. But yes, Broken Binding subscription. This was the first book in that box, and you can see me unboxing it for my BookTube birthday unboxing on my channel. So please do go check that out because these are stunning. What do you want to read in the last part of the year? This book is featured on my channel lots already, and I still haven't finished it. This damn book. A Promised Land by Barack Obama. I bought this and thought I would devour it. And to be honest, when I do pick it up, I read a decent chunk of it. But I'm still only halfway through, because it is one of those that I can put down and come back to. Not because I'm not enjoying it, but because it's quite hard going and it does take reading, if that makes sense. I've got the audiobook as well. To hear Barack Obama read it does really help with the reading experience, because it's quite deep. He's talking about his years as the President of the United States, and it goes into a lot of American politics, and I'm intrigued by that. I love that. I love American politics. It's so different to ours. It's so much more interesting than ours. And I have found myself developing quite a political view of the American political system. Undoubtedly, in my opinion, Barack Obama is the best thing to happen to the United States of America. He's just amazing, and I think he did a fantastic job as president. He was president for 8 years, and this is basically a document of that. And from what I can gather from so far reading this, it is volume 1 of 2 of his 8 years as president. And there are some really beautiful personal pictures in here as well. I mean, I've just opened it on one of them, and it's a beautiful picture of him and his daughters in there. So he's not afraid of talking personally in this as well, which I really, really do enjoy, because I wanted to get to know him, and I was hoping that that's what this would be, and it is. And I just really, really have enjoyed everything that I've read so far, and I'm just hoping to God that I can finish this damned book. I've put it on Pokeathon on purpose because I want to finish it. So again, I've not finished it because I'm not enjoying it. I really am enjoying it, but it's just hard going. It's challenging because you have to really, really focus and really take in what he's trying to tell you, because he doesn't shy away from the politics and the way things work as President of the United States, and what he has to deal with as President of the United States, and the way that their systems work. So it's everything that I want it to be, but it's challenging. So that's why it's taking me so long to read, but I have no doubt that it will end up a 5-star read, because I really have enjoyed everything that I've read so far, and I'm hoping that the rest of it carries on to be the same. That's it for my mid-year freak out tag. Thank you so much for watching. As always, you'll find all the relevant links that I've talked about today in my description box, where you will also find all of my links to my socials. So come find me, let's be friends, let's chat. Thank you ever so much for watching, and I will see you in whatever comes out next.